The same. Hey, we've got a special guest that just walked into the show. Finally, it was getting boring in here, Johnny.
Yeah. Hey,
This is your factory sponsor from Big Bear last year. I'm trying to get to the bottom of why Trevor didn't show up at Big Bear, because his autograph line was waiting forever. He didn't show up.
Yeah, dude, come on, Trevor. You know, This is a really important gig we got going here, so next time you better show up.
Jimmy, why? There we go. Welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday, everybody. I screwed up. I didn't turn the thing off, or maybe I did, and I started the show too early. But there's a lot of stuff going on. You have no idea. The Instagrams fired up, and they started asking lots of questions. We started with, Jimmy, what's your favorite Husaberg? And it took me like 0.7 seconds to call out the 570. The FE 570. Actually, did they make an FX 570? I don't remember. I know they made an FX 450, but and they had an enduro one, and then they had a straight off-road one. And in reality, my favorite one is the 2008 that was just the off-road. It was kind of before they put all the emissions stuff on it, and I like that one because I was able to I got my hands on some software tuning stuff, like early fuel injection things. I was familiar with software tuning from the Cannondale days, of all things, and fuel injection tuning and ignition tuning. And Cannondale had an app back on what was that thing called? A BlackBerry. I had to buy a BlackBerry so I could tune a Cannondale. And so I was familiar, but anyways, back to the Husaberg. Husaberg had a program that you could plug into the ECU and you could change all this stuff. And like, it was good to begin with, but I had a little bit of a way to play with this stuff. And I made that bike so bitchin'. It's still, my map is still in my bike. It still rips. It's still, when I want to feel what a perfect 4-stroke motor feels like, I go ride that motorcycle. And I try to ride it when there's a lot of traction because it makes a lot of power. I don't know if anybody's ever, I don't like to just pontificate on the power of the Husaberg, the length of power, the amount of power, the delivery. It's kind of, I can go on and on. Hold on. I used to have people that used to come into the studio and they'd ring a bell when I would say too much Husaberg stuff. So there we go. So Instagrams, there you go. FS 570. So FS, there's somebody that knows his model designations. I forget all the time. The FS is the street legal one, and the FE was the enduro one, I'm pretty sure. So those are the different things. This is Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. It's the show where we talk about motorcycle and motorcycle related products. I may or may not have special guests. The show is brought to you by Yamaha, despite the shirt I'm wearing. Also companies like Fast Company, Bulletproof Designs. They help us out. DDC, Delaney Drive Components, makers of the longest lasting, lightest weight, high performance sprockets for your stuff. And Cricket Land says, I like peanut butter. Good. I do too, actually. So here we go. Bill Doherty said he heard that a fast old guy, Dean Taylor, might be on tonight. This is true. So Bill, to tell you what, about 5 minutes before the show started and 2 minutes before I realized my cameras didn't work, I texted Dean or sent him an email and said, hey, maybe I can get you on tonight. Because this other guy that might be involved with the thing that Dean is going to be doing, which is fast old guys going racing again. I put together through Dirt Bike Test, I put together a little deal for him. It just shows how a well-written and orchestrated email with a plan can get you a factory ride. That simple. All you dumb people that just send mispunctuation, no capitalization, texty words, and you say, dude, bro, can you get me a free, can I race the new Kawasaki brand new bike? Bro, dude. that's like a lot of the emails and texts that I get. So kind of like Cricketland says, I like peanut butter. So Gary Drummond likes the t-shirt. Victor Andrade says, when will the Death Valley Beer Mile be? And are you doing it naked? Okay, so on my personal Facebook page, I reposted something extravagant that I did a few years ago. And everybody wants to know when I'm doing it again. It might be hot enough to do it again, but I haven't been training. I was supposed to be, but I'm not, and it's a long story. So you guys on the Instagrams, I'm going to probably hang up on you pretty quick. So yeah, I'm excited to spend time on the new Honda 450 just for obvious reasons, because it's 9 pounds less motorcycle, and I would like to see. I've been riding the new Hondas for so many years. It's really interesting to see when they make a new change, what they decide to do, because I know people that work in their marketing departments, which make a lot of the decisions. I know people that work in their R&D departments. I used to live with the guy who's kind of in charge of a lot of that stuff. I know what he's done. And it's real interesting to see what the final product, how it gets out there, and how they're taking a read on it, because I've been pretty close to that process. I mean, in the old days, I was a durability rider, really. I did a little bit of development stuff, but very little. It was mostly I was just a warm body that go ride this bike for 3 motos during a day, and we just put hours on pre-production bikes. So that was in the past, but yeah, that's the one. Okay, so if you're on the Instagrams, you may or may not get to see. Well, you won't, because I'm going to hang up on you. It's like a phone call, and you have an attention span that's like about that long. That's how long the attention span is there. Thanks to all the sponsors that help us bring this. Fast Company Flex handlebars, one of my favorite products. They're on every one of my bikes. Kind of like Scott steering stablers, kind of like DDC sprockets, kind of like Bulletproof Designs protection parts. They make protection parts that aren't made out of balsa wood, even though this piece is. It was made specifically for me because I tend to not like front disc protectors. They made me a lightweight one that was breakable on purpose. So, okay, everybody, we're going to hang up on you, and we will see you out on the trail. Go get a Yamaha. Cheers. Okay. End my live video. Thank you very much. I will share it as a reel, and I'm going to name it Tech Talk Taco Tuesday number 200, and I believe it's 86, but don't hold me to that. I'll just send it like that anyways, and we'll call it good. Okay. So back to the regular show. You're not going to get other camera angles, because if you get other camera angles, they look like this and they look like this, which is not very good, because my show is theoretically broken. If there's an emergency, I can go to this, and then it looks like I'm about to be eaten by the Tacosaurus dinosaur on this show. But we'll see how this goes. I have open spots here for special guests that may come in, and especially if you are into, I don't know, maybe rally, maybe you might be stoked to see who we get in here. It's pretty cool, really. Yeah. And other stuff. I got to dismiss some stuff. And then if this other guy comes in here, then we can do an interview with another guy. There's a lot hinging on other people right now. I got the show started almost by myself. And then that's where we're at. Oh yeah, Tugger is coming on as a sponsor, the Tugger toe strap. So if you have Husabergs like I do, and they break, and your wife is riding with you, this way she can get on the bike that you broke, and then you can ride her bike and tow the Husaberg back. So that's the second part of the Husaberg stories. I got some questions coming in. First of all, Paul Clipper said, "Hi, Jimmy." And I told him I need to get him on the show. So that guy is legend and old as well. Darren Witter, 4141, says, I've been changing my foot position to my arch. I'm hitting the back brake sometimes when going to the gas. Should I be dropping my heel as I lean forward? It sucks to be expecting to go and get stopped. Huh, Darren? So your foot position from your arch, technically, I mean, because everybody, I disagree with this, but leave it to me to have a differing opinion that will soon become the mainstream opinion. I don't think you should ride on the balls of your feet all the time. So if you're changing your foot position to your arch, generally people have been on the balls of their feet and they move to the arch because it's way more comfortable. That would usually put your foot back. So I'm kind of curious. You might have to do a little explanation for me, but or are you actually by your arch? Should I be dropping my heel as I lean forward? So here's the thing about your foot is your foot on a motorcycle, you're riding on a foot peg, where in the real world, your heel to toe is what's touching the ground. So you never use, quote, the arch of your foot when you're in a shoe and stuff like that. You're rolling on your heel and then walking up to your toe and taking the next step. And then when you stand, you are equally balanced between your heel and the front of your toe. You know, just there's a balance to it. I'm not a doctor or a physicist or a physio. I don't know what that kind of person is. They went to school more than I did, but I do know how motorcycles work. So on the foot peg, I still believe that you should find the most balanced point on your foot, which is someplace in the arch. If you really want to make the bike work, you would jump to the balls of your feet for that moment and do something and then jump back. But most of the time you're on your arch. So my question is you say when you get on the gas, you're hitting the brake. So does that mean you're anticipating going onto the brake and then, onto the gas, and you start leaning forward and that causes you to push the gas? I'll just tell you a couple things. Typically, most riders will space their foot on the foot pegs so that if their foot was to go forward and back, it would not touch the shift lever or the brake lever. In other words, they would stand a little bit wide of the things, and a lot of riders grip with their ankles. And when they grip with their ankles, they bow their toes out a little bit. And then that allows the clearance for the pedals. Let's see. I'm going to look at a keyboard right now and see how far the Y is from the J, because somebody said, hi, Yimmy. JB Black did. Don't make me do it. Do not make me do it. Okay. Just checking, because I don't really know how to read poetry. Long running school. Wait a minute. My riding school just commented on my show and I'm here. Somebody, must be my wife. Or someone hacked my account. Perfect. Somebody needs to, really. Okay. So yeah, I think there could be some stuff with your foot, but what it's telling me is that somehow fundamentally you're doing something wrong, which would mean you're out of balance, causing that problem, or your feet are just doing something weird. And the reason I'm saying you're out of balance is if you were anticipating accelerating, you lean forward and your toes drop down, you're not really aware of where your foot position is. And I see this like a lot of times when riders really aren't used to, being in boots all day long and everything's kind of new, but it's just a practice thing. And it could be something as simple as there could be a bike change you could do. You could narrow your brake pedal. You could raise or lower your brake pedal depending on where it's at. And it's my wife interacting on our school's social media platform. That's good. Okay. We didn't get hacked. Whew, I didn't want to have to deal with that either. She probably came on because she wants to see who my special guest is. We'll see how that goes. Gary Drummond has a question. He says, in these days of EFI, do you prefer an injected two-stroke over a carb? Gary, me personally, 150 million% yes. I prefer EFI in almost anything to do with anything that has to do with anything where you're putting gas inside of a motor. The early days of it, not the best, but it's come around so much. Even on these off-brand EFI systems, when they're running, they're actually not too bad. The trick is getting them to start when they're cold, getting really good throttle response at low RPMs, stuff like that. But the for sure on the two strokes that are EFI, which are the Austrian brands, I really like them. And I wish I had more tuning tools to work on them or to play with them, because I know how to make it better, but they're very protective of that because they don't want you to blow it up, because it takes a lot to get those things working properly. So, yeah, Gary, that's the question. Devil's some 70, I don't know. How much is that Tenere training clinic in Idaho? Can I paint my XR650R blue to a 10? Okay, now I know who it is. Victor. Hold on. Tech Talk Taco Tuesday is brought to you by Yamaha, that is having the inaugural Tenere Trek. And they will welcome up to 200 Yamaha dual sport and adventure riders for a weekend of riding through the mountains and back roads and forest trails around the Payette National Forest. Registered guests will have the option to book lodging or camping spaces at Tamarack Resort through Yamaha's exclusive rate. For a $250 entry fee, guests will be treated to 3 hosted dinners, commemorative gift items, live entertainment, and curated adventure routes alongside Yamaha ambassadors and staff. And just announced right now, Jimmy Lewis Off-Road Training will be there to help you with your off-road riding skills on your Yamaha Tenere or dual sport bike. I think it has to be over 200 cc's. I don't remember. There was a little thing. I'm sure when you go to the registration, there's some stuff. But yes, you cannot paint your XR650 blue. You have to have a Yamaha. And I am going to see if I can get something special for people that are willing to go buy. I should actually call somebody from Yamaha right now and just negotiate it live on the show, because I like to do stuff like that, but they're closed. So I have a good idea, but I forgot to do that today. I took a nap instead. Hey, just so you know, we have a Rooster Endo brought to you by Taco Moto tonight. We've got some submissions. It's not just a one and done. Some people sent Rooster Endo submissions in. I'll get to that. I'd like to do that when and if I have a guest. The thing is, it's still light outside, and people tend to like riding motorcycles when it's light outside, even if it is hot. So, but I did hear someone go by and throw panic revs, so maybe they actually know that we're doing the show. And the smart person in the chat asked if the rider who is still supposed to get Darren Whittier about his thing, she asked if he is bending at the knees, which is that's brilliant, Heather. I didn't think of that, but maybe he's actually doing the squat. He's bending at the knees, and that's causing his toes to drop. And which is completely wrong. I just went straight to the balance thing, but she was smarter than that and picked up that maybe there was something else that was causing the problem. So, I need some, he probably got bored of this show and hung up on the podcast. No, he's there. Here we go. Darren Witter answered the other question. And then also just kind of be aware that there is sometimes a little bit of a delay on how long it takes for the chat to kind of pop up in my feed, populate it there. And then sometimes I get distracted. So just go ahead and put the comment back up there. I'm going to read his thing. He says, lever is near the bottom of adjustment. I have a size 14 boot. Okay. I should have said, how big are your boots? So when I'm on my arch, the widest part of my boot is right at the lever. Not sure if that's part of the problem. Yeah, it is. All of those things tend to be problematic. So I have a friend who, big guy, 6'4", size 14 boots as well. And he artificially rides a little bit, I would say, on more towards the ball of his feet. He didn't ride in the ball of his feet so he can drop his feet down so that that helps. So again, this is kind of thing where, that's why I said it might not just be 100% you. It might be a little bit in bike setup stuff that you can do to, maybe tuck that lever in a little bit so that it doesn't go. But you really don't want to go too low because, in order to get on the brake, sometimes it's hard to, it's hard to reach that brake pedal. And it's kind of a thing that if it's a real problem, I would design some drills to just practice just that, to learn a little bit more about it with, each individual person. Like this is where if you're doing everything else perfect, then we start trying to figure out if there's other ways to work on the problem. So I have a picture right here that I can hold up and show. I'll use my special camera because I know you're watching on the internet. And if you're listening to this as a podcast, you are missing out because at least 2 of my 4 cameras are working. So here's a picture of me in a Husaberg, not to beat a dead horse, but I want you to look, and I'm going to use my emergency camera to show you where they're still riding. So we may not have special guests. I want to show you where, see, it's actually going down. I have to turn it. So going right down, and my head's getting bit off by the mouth of the dinosaur right now. But if you look, I'm getting back over the motorcycle because it's dropping off of a cliff, and you look where my foot is. If I wanted to use my rear brake right now, that would be kind of difficult. So this is a case for running that brake pedal up high, for instance. I was also probably exaggerating a little bit for the camera. So maybe I was riding off a hill that was that steep, and then we tilted it like this in the magazine so it looks super, super rad. But anyways, so there's a lot that goes into that. That's why we used to run a riding school. That's why I know a couple of these things. But with the bigger boots, that's a problem. Like I said, the wider part of that boot is an issue. Kind of depending on the type of riding you're going to do, what kind of bike you're on. Sometimes a little bit wider foot peg, longer sticking out from the bike, can be an option. But if you're riding in single tracks and rocks and stuff, then that's not an option. Okay, here's a couple things. Stuff's coming through what do you prefer, bibs or moose balls? Bill Doherty. Bill, I prefer bibs, just the regular mooses. So, and the reason is that less points of failure for me because I'm doing more higher speed stuff. I live out in the desert and everything. The advantages to the moose balls are the ability to kind of tune the pressure without like kind of destroying the moose. Also, if you're someone like me that rides as much as I do, I have so many different levels of worn out mooses. I can pick one and place it in a tire and get exactly what I want. That gives me that option that you would tune with moose balls when they're brand new. And it takes some skill to learn how many to put in to get the right feel, the right quote PSI feel. So, just so you know that my wife has switched to her personal account now, so I can see who is on the podcast. And of course, her first post is, who wouldn't prefer moose balls? Thank you, honey. I might just end the show on that note. And then she apologizes, like usual. But yeah, I run the mooses. I run nitro mooses most of the time. And I've had really good luck with them. And I've had really good luck with almost every brand of moose. There's been a few that I've had some problems with, and some of those companies aren't around anymore. Some of them have upgraded their product. They realized what the issue was and they fixed it. But when I see moose failures or foam insert, when we're talking about moose, we're talking about the foam inserts that go into the tires that replace a pneumatic tube. So you're using a thing that can't go flat unless you do something wrong with it. And yeah, if they're properly installed and properly lubed, and you can go high speed on them for quite a long time. All this stuff, all the rumors that you hear are still persisting and carrying on. And I believe some of them until I started using the stuff myself, and then I tested the limits of it, and I kind of know what the thing. They don't like adventure bikes because that's heavy weight and high heavyweight, high load. So they don't last as long when you're racing because they're getting beat up a little bit more. All lots of things. Yeah, there's some bells there because I showed up a picture of a Husaberg. Gary Drummond, after watching Taco Mike's tire deep dive, I went back to running slime in my dirt and dual sport bike. So I have not seen that. So I don't know what his tire deep dive was or where he went with that. But yeah, slime. Yeah, I did that when we were riding in thorns, and then I realized that the mousse is the solution to all these problems. But the slime could work in the thorn thing. But I've also had slime in a tube, and then when we got a flat, especially on adventure rides where you carry patches, the slime made it really, really difficult to fit the patch in. And then I've also had it on a tubeless tire. I had slime inside of it just to kind of help it seal up a little bit better. And sure enough, I slashed a sidewall that a tire plug would have fit, and the tire plugs kept popping out. So I've been going dry on my tubes. I baby powder the tube to tire, but have not been using slime inside the tubes. But like on my mountain bikes, which are tubeless, I run a Stans type tire sealant, and that seems to work quite well. But yeah, if you're kind of stuck doing an in the field repair, the slime can be a little problematic, and I've rarely seen it patch up more than a pinhole type of thing. If you get a nail in the tire and you pull the nail out, the slime generally doesn't do the nail or the screw. It'll if you're getting thorns that go in there, it seems like it'll hold, and then if you pull the thorn out, then it might seal up a thorn hole. But anything bigger than that, I haven't had too much luck with that in the past. So yeah, I probably should figure out what Taco Mike said. I need to figure out what Trevor said about the 450 off-road bikes. That's another mystery. I was supposed to proofread it. I should probably just put up his video right now because I'd like to go grab something. Oh, I got a sparkling water over here. I don't have any tequila within reach tonight. Oh yeah, I do. I do not have anybody to pour it. Doug Derby is going to comment on the slime. Slime is good for sealing while riding. You don't know you had a flat. It just shows up later in the week when the bike is sitting in the garage, but you made it home. Yeah. I agree with that. Like I've seen it seal like when the nail or the screw goes all the way in, but when you see it and you pull it out, that's when it doesn't seem to do too good. But yeah, Doug, thanks for kind of pointing that out. I run it in like some of my ATVs, UTVs around here for, mostly because the rims are dented. It tends to be able to kind of help seal the bead a little bit. Different things like that. I was going to go to some of the internets over here and see what kind of questions were popping up over there. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to that tonight or not. We'll see. Did some young lady come and take your tequila? Not that I know of. No, I was actually kind of cleaning up. I didn't want it to look like a liquor cabinet that it usually looks like when my special guests come in here, if they come in here. And I wanted to be a little bit more professional, if you know what I mean. That's what I was really going at, but we'll see. I'm waiting. I should throw out a text. Let's see. I should throw out one text to see if one guy's going to show up. Let me see if I can get his thing up here. Let's see. He was making jokes about here. I'll tell him, come on show. He's probably racing a mountain bike. We'll see that. And then let's see. I'm going to text the other guy and see if he's going to make it. Here we go. Let's say you am making it. Here we go. I got to tell him we've got our factory riders potentially lined up for a call. We've got our old guy team potentially lined up for a call live on the show. That's it. We'll announce all that stuff when I have more time. Roger Clapp says, after racing the Vegas Torino the last 2 years using Moose bibs, the bike really wobbles at 70 miles per hour. Does balancing help? Okay, so wobbles or the wheels are out of balance and it shakes because of that. If I were doing, I put mooses in my bike and I run down in Baja and we run pretty damn fast and I don't balance anything. And then were you running a rim lock? No rim lock? There's so many things. Does balancing help? Yes, balancing can help with the wheel hop, but wobbles to me means side to side. And I don't notice any difference in the way a bike handles at anything over, let's just say once you're going about 50 miles an hour, unless you hit something like a big thing, like a rock, don't really notice too much of a difference in the way that the bike handles moose versus tube. But balancing will help. It'll actually help the life of the moose if your wheel is out of balance. And, yeah. Okay. So somebody's feeding somebody and then, cause they might be hungry and then he might come in. So we're getting closer. So yeah, I think balancing helps. I don't think it could hurt, but then again, after a little while, the balance isn't balanced anymore. Stuff gets hit and beat around. But if you kind of balance the rim, yes, wheels out of balance, much smoother dirt than Baja. Yeah, you're talking about those graded dirt roads and really high speed. Once I'm in the dirt, I don't really feel out of balance wheels all that much. And I know like my adventure bikes, I don't balance those either. And they go plenty fast, but they're also heavier. So, I would balance, if you have a rim lock in there, I would definitely balance it or counter the weight of the rim lock. And that could help quite a bit. And then because the rim lock just being out of balance, that also is hard on the moose at that one point. And I've seen especially when they're not lubed up enough, I've seen the mooses around the rim lock. That's typically a point of failure. Okay. And my other guy never got back to me. Okay, the show would not be possible without the help of some of our sponsors. Of course, Bulletproof Designs. I got a KTM 300 from a guy, which I think he's trying to sell me another one in a weird way, but and it needed a lot of protection, so I went to Bulletproof Designs. Luckily, this guy had not tipped it over, so the radiators were still straight. And if you want to save a lot of money on radiators, get some Bulletproof Designs radiator protection because they're perfect match. And you don't want to try to put them on after your radiators are bent because they actually index on little grooves and stuff like that in the radiator and really hold that radiator together and will make it last. So they have chain guide protection. They have all kinds of side covers. I got their super heavy duty side cover. I put it on my bike. It's for a KTM Extreme Enduro side cover, and it is heavy. It's thick and heavy. So I don't want to have to use that. You know, if you've had the problem where you tip over and your brake lever punches through your thin little stock case, probably won't happen on this thing. So check out Bulletproof Designs if you are in the market for some goodies for your bike. In fact, I have a question. I'm going to go through some of my questions right now. One of my questions was, hey, Jimmy, I just picked up a leftover 2025 FX 350, which I love after many years on the two strokes, and have heard you and many others talking about the 350. I need to upfit it. Do you have any discount codes for Bulletproof Designs on the guards? Thanks, man. So he's going down the right path. He's thinking Bulletproof Designs. He's going to protect his bike while it's brand new. And he reaches out and asks for a discount code. Well, I tell you what, a lot of the sponsors and stuff, we do have some discount codes, but like there's certain companies, because of their agreements with their vendors and stuff, they can't do some of that kind of stuff. So, yeah. But I might be able to help you out. You never know. You might get an email back from me. And if your name is Taylor Collier the Fourth, and he says, I did not misunderstand you on Rooster Endo 2 episodes ago. You said I won. Despite the repeat entry, I just wanted to follow up with you. Thanks, dude. Yes, you won. Now I need to do my homework and make sure I follow it up with you and Takamoto, the sponsor of Rooster Endo, to get you your $100 gift certificate. Yeah. I've got to get that to you. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did. But if you're listening to this episode live and or in the podcast, make sure you send me an email and remind me to do my job. And then maybe next Tuesday, when I look at those emails, I might remember to do it. Hopefully, allegedly. So, thank you for being a patron of the show. Hey, everybody in the chat, where are you guys watching from? Because I see some new names I haven't seen before. And Michael Brown says, how many hours or miles is a lot for a 2-stroke? Well, it depends on whether you're on an 85 or a 125 or a 250 or a 300. And it depends on probably the biggest thing. The number one thing is the person that is doing the maintenance. So the reason I say this is because some people aren't very good with the maintenance. And on a 2-stroke, most of the time, if you keep the air filter clean and you change the transmission fluid every once in a while, and then like all bikes, if you grease and lube things and then have the suspension serviced every so often, you should not have to work on it that much. So top end hours, like I included, and many guys around me are regularly getting 100 hours easy on the top end of a KTM 2-stroke, 300 2-stroke. This is making sure your filter's clean, all the stuff I said before. I sort of target 80 hours as I need to think about, getting the stuff to rebuild it. Maybe I'll have it in stock, as I get around 80, and then I'll pull the pipe off and peek up into the port, which is real easy to do on a 2-stroke. Take a look and see if there's any blow by or how everything looks. That kind of stuff. My 125, I have a YZ 125. It's a 2005 125. It's probably on its 10th top end, maybe. No, maybe 6th. I can't recall. I don't ride it all that much, only when the ground's wet. It's got a few top ends in it. And I kind of target that one at about 40 hours. And I think like I said, if I rebuilt the bottom end on that one, I think I might've done a rod once. So probably at somewhere around 100 hours. I did the rod. I bought it with like 20 hours on it. And then I've just ridden it a lot since then. But yeah, it's I can't really go on miles because it's different. And then there's the question of how hard is it being ridden? Like, is it? And hard doesn't necessarily mean like a fast rider, because some fast riders are actually really easy on equipment. Hard means is the rider over revving it? Is the rider downshifting it too much too soon? Is the rider hard on the clutch? These kinds of things can have the clutch is a great way to wreck a motorcycle by overusing a clutch. And so lots of different variables in that. But so it's kind of subjective, but I don't know, on the smaller displacement bikes, 20 hours for a on the short end for someone that's really hard on stuff, that'd be 40 to 50 hours on a bigger bore. And then on the higher end, 40 hours on the small bore and 100 hours on the big bore. Although I know people have put 300 hours on KTM 300s and they're still on the stock top end. So let's see. We got people from Richland, Washington, Mesa, Arizona, and Little St. James. Where is that? Let's see. Prairie Dog 879 says, Jimmy, good for his Roosterendo prizes, but he runs about 3 weeks behind. I didn't even do the show last week, so that week doesn't count. And then, yeah. So, but I'm generally good for most of the stuff. I say. Darren I can't spell either. I heard you say once that riding a two-stroke fast in the street will wear them out. Please define what that means. Did I say that? Riding a two-stroke fast on the street. That's probably a paraphrase of something I said, but I think please define what fast means. So fast, because if you're riding it fast, you're riding at peak power, and it's like essentially like kind of running it on a, you're running with a good load, and if you're doing your shifting when you're supposed to be doing, like, that's not hard on something. What's hard on it is, over rev. There's a reason why bikes have rev limits, and there's a functional, like a two-stroke actually most of the time rev limit itself. It used to be a function of what the carburetor would flow. Now with fuel injection, they're able to do some crazy stuff, but going into an over rev, it's just things are stretching and moving differently. And it's not what you think. It's not like because you're running it harder, it's generating more heat and stuff like that. Yeah. I wonder what I said about riding on the street. I don't know. But hard on bikes is like smashing into like things like hoops. So really sudden RPM changes, which is instant. We call it instantaneous RPM changes. That's hard on bikes. The slamming of gears and the instantly slowing down of pistons and stuff like that can, it doesn't just, you think about the up and down forces trying to at the same time kind of press it into the sides of the cylinder and things like this. So that's what it is. Ventura, California. I know that place. That's where I grew up when I was a little lad. The land of single track, Northern California. I bet you there's people from other places that would beg to differ with that. So, yeah, still don't know where St. James is. Little St. James. Okay, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, go ahead and leave them in the chat for us. I'm gonna go along. A friend of mine, I saw on. She likes the way it's pulling while we're chilling up a land. She's even kind of music. She likes the way my show. Okay, there we go. Okay, if you have any questions, that was a bad comments or concerns, I'm going to get a copyright. Leave them in the violations from that. Leave them in the chat for us. Go along. Where's the other thing I was looking for here? Nope, I gotta turn this off. I gotta shut this whole thing down. There we go. Damn internets. Bill is checking in from the other land of single track, which he claims is Idaho. Okay, I think there's still some people that are going to disagree with you, like the gentleman from Northern California. But yeah, I wouldn't tell anybody, Bill. That's what happened to Colorado, because Colorado was the land of single track, and now you get to ride on rocks and some hoops. Prairie Dog says, Jimmy, you finally talked me into a KTM 500. Now, why would you put that on a show where we're sponsored by Yamaha? That was a bad move. I gotta answer this call here live on the show. Hold on. Wait 1 second. I'm answering this call live on the show. Am I? Yep. Hold on. I'm plugging it into the dashboard if I can get the plug in. Oh, shoot. You know what? I can't put you on the dashboard because I got a new phone and it has a different it has a different plug on it, and I'm just going to have to do it old school. Hold you up to the microphone. Trevor Hunter, welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Who is Prairie Dog 879?
Couldn't tell you. Who is it?
It's not your dad?
What are they asking?
Well, they said I just talked him into buying a KTM 500.
That's not my dad.
Okay. Oh, so maybe I just figured like there was a Prairie Dog guy, and I thought he's been commenting on the show, and I thought it was your dad, because your dad's always trying to use this show to sell some of his junk motorcycles.
He would never listen to you to buy a bike, but he would use you to sell a bike.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds about right. Yeah. It's one of those things where, some people just never learn.
Yeah.
So Trevor, we have some concerns. Evidently you were a no-show at the Big Bear Trail Ride this year.
Yeah, I have learned from the best, and we were in negotiations on how much money I was going to get to show up, but we never were able to reach the right number. So
that's
a pretty big deal these days.
That's good. And you just slated at a mountain bike race?
I got 6, so that's basically a win.
Oh,
these days I'm taking it as a win.
Really? Is that what you kids do? Now 6th is a win. Wait a minute. I learned that on mountain bike podiums they have 5 spots.
Yes.
Is that 100% because you guys wear Lycra and you want everybody to check you out when you're up there?
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. I didn't know, because a friend of mine said he got on the podium at a mountain bike race, and I'm like, well, which place? And he goes 5th, and I'm like, that's not a freaking podium. That's like a bridesmaid podium or something. So you did a
dirt podium and a box podium. So you got on the dirt podium.
Dirt podium. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I learned something, and now I'm even less impressed with mountain biking in general. So everybody gets a trophy. Hey, Ace Nelson is telling me, he says, "What's up, Jimmy?" He got his Achirby's rolling bike stand, and he's impressed. And he said, "Thanks for the hookup." So Achirby's thinking about sponsoring this particular show and sending me millions of dollars. This is the highest rated #1 motorcycle technical pod show in the world. Did you know this, Trevor?
Out of 1?
Well, it's my ranking system, so yeah, that's what I say.
Well, I'd take it.
And Prairie Dog says it's because Yamaha doesn't sell a KTM 500. Way to come back and thank you.
They sell a WR 450.
Right, but it doesn't come with a license plate. And some people have to have a license plate, I guess. I
believe we have a link on our site. You can
Dirt Legal.
Yeah, maybe work around it a little bit.
I have a link on a site, and I think I get a couple bucks if you do that. But let me tell you that you got to be careful with those. They will get if you have a weird title or something kind of messed up, they can help you with that. But yeah, be careful those registration services. Yeah, I might take that link down just because. I mean, it accomplished what I needed to accomplish, and then I learned the system myself, and I just registered another bike up there in Montana because my motorhome's up there, and when I went in, it took less than 15 minutes. I have a permanent license plate, and I will tell you right now that the hardest question I had to answer is, what color is the bike?
Wow.
That was it. I didn't have to type right. No, I handed her the title, and it was done. And I mean, that is the way that public service should be done. Like there was nobody asking me whether I had insurance for it and what company it was with, and they didn't want to know like where it was going to be garaged, or they didn't care. They took their little bit of money, and it was cheap. Permanent license plate. I'm done. Thank you. Yeah, this is not California. This is not Nevada these days. But anyhow, okay. So all the people that were standing in your autograph line and you didn't show up at Big Bear, do you have anything to say to them? I mean, and then you think that's bad, Trevor? All the people that are waiting for that Big Bear video to drop, like tonight.
I mean, if they're smart, they just go back and rewatch the first one.
It's got 1 million views on it, doesn't it?
It's got, I think it's maybe close to 200,000, 150,000.
Wow. Finally passed up some of my videos. Good job.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm taking notes.
Good.
Might not look like it, but I'm taking notes.
Yep. And pulling dents out of cars, 1-800-DENT-DOC. If you have a rogue shopping cart attack your truck in the parking lot, call Trevor Hunter at 1-800-DENT-DOC.
We also do paint spot repairs, detailing, glass repairs. We do it all at 1-800-DENT-DOC.
Okay. Because he needs to hire somebody to do all that work for him, and then he can ride more dirt bikes for dirt bike tests and then make videos.
And I can go back to Big Bear.
Johnny Campbell mentioned that he paid attention to he actually read the Honda 450 or the not the Honda 450 but the 450 off-road comparison you just got done. Good job in getting that done. I have not read it yet. Which bike won?
The Kawasaki narrowly beat out the Honda.
The Kawasaki narrowly beat out the Honda. Okay, and then I mean, Yamaha is a big sponsor of the show. Why didn't you make the Yamaha win?
Yeah, I think if you look at the results of the shootout, you could say I'm the only credible tester on that panel, and I picked the Yamaha to win. So if you read between the lines, you'll see the Yamaha is the best. Yeah,
I was getting asked today if I'd ever been paid off to make a different bike win a shootout, or if any of that had ever taken place in my journalism career. And the answer was no. I was never actually even offered. I was never even approached. I mean, there was some manufacturers that would like lean heavy on you and they would try to tell you why their bike should win, especially when they started noticing that it wasn't going to win, or they expected it to win. And, maybe because they leaned on some other journalists that they could lean on and they were going to win that one. And then they would tell you how, well, it's going to look really strange when it wins these ones and it doesn't win yours. And I'm like, my job isn't to pick a winner. My job is to describe this thing, and we'll collectively, get the information and then you kind of have to quote pick a winner, but it has nothing to do with, I've had manufacturers try to cheat. We've had bikes that were cheater bikes.
I was talking to someone at an OEM not too long ago, like a couple weeks ago. And, you've always said back in the day, guys, especially the two-stroke days, they'd pull cylinders off and clean some stuff up or, do stuff like that.
Yep.
And it wasn't, I think it was less than 10 years ago, some manufacturers were still pulling suspension apart or, making sure, doing some special work on some bikes when they knew they were going to a shootout.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago that they were still doing that.
Yeah, no, they, I mean, some, and I was told when it was done on my bikes and I found out about it, and I was told, well, that's the way it should have come. Or, there was like, oh, well, we, took it apart to check it and it wasn't right. So we put it back together. And I'm like, well, it's not the same way that they come from the dealership. The same. Yeah. Hey, we've got a special guest that just walked into the show. Finally, it was getting boring in here, Johnny.
Yeah. Hey,
this is your factory sponsor from Big Bear last year. I'm trying to get to the bottom of why Trevor didn't show up at Big Bear, because his autograph line was waiting forever. He didn't show up.
Yeah, dude, come on, Trevor.
Yeah.
This is a really important gig we got going here. So next time you better show up.
Welcome to the show, Johnny Campbell, 11-time Baja 1000 winner. The only reason I ever won the Baja 1000 is sitting right next to me. And yeah, imagine where I would be without Johnny Campbell, Trevor.
Yeah.
You'd be like me.
Well,
Be like me.
I'll tell you, yeah, maybe like that. But do you need to find a really fast racer that needs a place to live? And then rent them a room at your house, and like then good things start happening. Because if I hadn't had Johnny Campbell move into my house, I probably wouldn't have been able to make my house payment, and then I would just be a degenerate bum rolling around on my bicycle around Costa Mesa.
He'd have at least 3 or 4 XR 100s.
Yeah,
for sure.
I'd probably be one of those illegal dudes that rides around an XR 100 and stuff around the thing.
If Preston wants a room in California, I got a spare room for him. Always ready.
Okay, I see your angle. Yeah, that's good.
It's all a setup, Johnny.
I'll send him down there.
Jimmy, does Johnny know about he's going to be my new sponsor?
Oh.
Have you told him yet?
No. Johnny, you see my shirt?
Oh yeah, I see that. That's cool.
This show's sponsored by Yamaha, and I wanted to wear a Honda shirt to make you guys feel comfortable.
Oh, I feel so much better that you're wearing red. I did notice that, and yeah, I got my Honda shirt on right here.
How's he going to be your sponsor? Because I did pitch one angle of you helping him out.
I just need some parts.
Oh.
My new bike that me and Preston are going to race somewhere.
Oh, 2000 CR 250 two-stroke.
Yes.
Oh.
He told me that I could be on a team and race it in the 24-hour if I wanted to.
And Johnny.
I think we did that. I think you did that.
I did it to beat you because you wouldn't put me on your team.
But you rode a CR.
Yeah, with Big Air Todd and with Dre. I think you
Jeff Willow,
yeah.
Yeah,
Magoo came out.
And no, I remember I packed some mousses for you with some black grease and got it all over myself.
But we had Crippa made us a light, like we had an E-line ignition, and Crippa built some air cooled ignition box thing. It was a mistake.
I thought you guys won.
No, I don't think we won that year.
Really? I thought you did.
Tie.
Really?
I don't remember. I know that I thought the only reason I did it was because you wouldn't. We were going to do it on the XR 600, and then you had to ride with your off-road racing donkeys.
I don't remember.
I thought I got kicked off the winning team. I don't think I was the slowest guy, but
I was the slowest guy.
Did we beat you guys? Did you race that year?
I don't think I raced. I think I supported you a little bit. I came out. I think I came out there, but I don't know 100%. Yeah. I know I'm not getting credit for a couple of those wins, like on the billboard. Like I think if you look on the billboard, if it's still there,
world's biggest
trophy. I think it says like 1999 inaugural winners. It was my effort and Jimmy's effort, and I didn't even I'm not even on there. It was
your name's on that.
I don't think it's on that. Next time you're at Glen Helen, look.
Hey Trevor, you got to get that fixed.
I'll be there on Thursday.
I'll start if
1999.
Yeah, 99 XR 600. It should say XR 600 on that, just so that like when guys look up there, they go, those guys are legends. They rode an XR 600.
We rode with like 2 of those little like tiny halogen lights.
I should have one up on my history board behind me.
And we rode with, it was either there or
they're 200 watts each.
Yeah.
They were these little headlights that I would build. They would drop into the stock XR 600 headlight show as a little aluminum plate, and we put in there. And we've been running it we did it at a couple of races. We'd pull up to the start line. Everybody have their big Baja Beluga lights and stuff like that, and we'd pull up with a towel over our headlights because we didn't want anybody to see. Because if you saw them, you could realize you could just go down to Home Depot and get the 100-watt ones. But I found 200-watt ones at a lighting specialty store, and we had the ignition to run it, and that's what made that XR so potent. I mean, we would just get it around during the day. When it got dark, we would just ride past these guys because they couldn't see. or they had a big heavy shit on their bike that would half the time the lights weren't working because they would go dead, and you'd blind them. You go behind them, and all they see is their own shadow.
And we had a bike that handled.
Yeah, our XR600 handled good. It was a Flexi Flyer.
Flexi Flyer hooking up.
Yeah, and my wife just says she stayed up all night to pit me. So that was nice. Heather's part of that winning effort. Make sure that Heather's name gets on that trophy too.
Jimmy's name is on 1999, but there's no Johnny.
Yeah, see? I don't even get credit.
2001. Johnny's 2001.
I did win in 2001 also, but 1999 was our inaugural team.
Yeah, it was me, you, Dre, and
Spud? Torsten Bostrom, yeah.
Yep.
It says Jimmy Lewis, Todd Shockwah, Dre Dirks, and Jeff Willow.
Nope, that's the year we won it on the CR250.
Yep, and that was, I don't know what.
That's the bike you have. That was 2000, right?
2000 says Taiwan.
Oh, okay. So I think
2001.
Maybe we got beat on the. We got beat one year.
01 was Johnny, Steve Henderfeld, Mike Healy, and Tim Stab.
Yeah, that was the year I got kicked off the team. We rode. Yeah, so we rode the 2-stroke that year also.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you're building a Jimmy Lewis Memorial commemorative CR250 for the 24-hour is what you're doing.
As long as you help me get the right parts, I'll do it.
I'll talk to some guy. I told him you have like the some of the good CDI boxes and stuff like that. Do you still have some of that stuff?
For
the 2-stroke, didn't you have some good? Well, I know you had some good parts for the.
I've hit my head way too many times to remember that.
Yeah, I know there was some things. Oh, well, we'll work on it.
4-stroke might be okay. I might be able to remember that
4-stroke stuff. Honda said they no more 2-strokes, and then Johnny had to forget that they even made them. They just.
My whole younger career, I rode CRs the whole time.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlsbad Raceway CR 500s. I wore out like 3 of them.
You know that. Well, I wish you would have beat me on a CR 500 there. I never got that experience. I got beat by a freaking XR 600, and I showed up with every kind of cool. I had my my Team Green KX 250s, and then I was a magazine guy, and I'd show up on different magazine bikes. The best bike. I would always ride the best bike, even a KX 500 once. And you still beat me on your stupid XR 600.
I was way faster on my XR 600 at Carlsbad than I was on a CR.
After we rode that one on the 24-hour, I knew why. I learned. So, well, Trevor, good job. Johnny wants to ask you questions about why you let the Kawasaki win the 450 shootout.
I get more contingency money. So.
I see how politics work around DBT. It's all right.
Yeah.
I'm still sitting here though.
Best of the motor media.
Yeah. I tried to teach him all this stuff, but I don't know how contingency money and shootouts pay. Yeah, I don't know how that works out. You got a scam going that I don't even know about. So, well, right on, Trevor. Thanks for calling in and clearing it up. I will defend you all the way to nowhere for not showing up at the Big Bear Trail race.
And give your dad a slap for me.
What does Dad do to you?
Nothing. Oh. He just deserves one.
Yeah, I agree. So, okay, we're going to get on to some real good pressing issues here. I think we're going to try to call it. So you were brought up for a potential thing at Vegas to Reno, but I found like 3 old dudes that want to race it, and Johnny was nice enough to get them a JCR old guy prepped, perfect bike to have a good finish at Vegas to Reno. And I think then Trevor Hunter fell right off the map.
That's okay. I'm okay with that.
You're about 40 years too young.
Yeah, 40 years too young. Yeah, these guys are they're gonna do. They actually made a video. They have a video of kind of why they're doing it, and they're gonna do some stuff. So we'll see if they can beat you out on getting lots of views, because we know the only people that watch internets are like old guys like us.
My fan base is all 40 years and older, so I'm competing for the same people.
Well, maybe you can link up with these guys. Maybe I'll put you in touch. Maybe there's a position for you on there.
There's got to be an angle.
An angle, yeah. Okay, Trevor, good job tonight at the mountain bike race. Keep making me money over there at that dirt bike test thing, and we'll talk about all the slimy deals we got going.
Do you want my dad to call in?
No.
He's got a...
He sent me a picture. He sent me a picture of that husky, and he says it runs.
It runs.
Well,
It runs.
Well, it's one picture and some words, then it's on Roosterendo.
All right. I'll see what I can do.
Okay. Sounds good, Trevor. Talk to you soon.
I'll see you.
See ya.
Bye.
Everybody, that was Trevor Hunter. He's the bad half of Dirt Bike Test that does most of the work. So, he sent us a picture of the trophy.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll forward that over to you from Glen Helen.
Yeah.
So our buddy Dean Taylor, I'm going to text him right now, and let's see here. And then we'll see if we can get him. Let's
get him on. I got dinner right down the street for me.
Well, there's tacos.
Where?
At the corner. Well, they're probably closed by now.
Yeah, I know. Vinny was down at the old tower.
Okay.
And they made room for our team. So
big group. Okay.
Yeah.
So Johnny's out here with his Honda boy. I thought I was going to get a factory rally racer in here, but they're too hungry.
Yeah. They want to go back and go to sleep.
Go to sleep. Tired. Jet lags, all this kind of stuff like that. Okay. So I'm going to call Dean right now. I can do this. I'll put him on the speaker, and we'll get him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about his plan. And then we'll introduce.
Did you see the question your wife's sending? She's like, 24 hours. She stayed up the whole night to pit you.
I know.
She loves you so much.
She was a trooper back then. I can't believe we're still married. I can't believe she married me. That's the crazy thing. Dean Taylor, welcome to Tech Talk Taco Tuesday.
What's up?
Thanks.
What's up, Dean?
So you're here live with Johnny Campbell. We're gonna negotiate the terms of your agreement live on the show because if we're gonna do something, everybody might as well know about it.
Hey, that sounds great. I'll make you guys an offer. You guys will write. I'll get rid of Roger and Bill because I think they're both watching right now.
We're not 60. Johnny's just in the 50s only a little bit. I'm closer. But...
I'm 55.
Oh, 55. Okay. We can lie, right? Do what everybody else does?
It's been done. I know that for sure. I won't say who it was, but I know somebody who rode before they were 60.
Yeah, I did my one race already this year. And so I'm done for the year. I've fulfilled my contractual obligations. Actually, or am I supposed to finish the race that I ride?
130 miles of hoops. But you only did like 80.
No, there was a lot of good course in there, but the 30 miles of hoops that I didn't want to do another 30. So anyways, but that's a good thing about Vegas to Reno is like nearly zero hoops.
Yes.
Maybe some sand ruts and things like this. So Dean Taylor, tell everybody a little bit about your history, how you came across. I already explained to everybody, you sent a well-written email and a proposal in with a crazy idea, and that's why I helped you.
Yeah, well, and I appreciate that. I am, kind of like I said in the email I sent you, I'm just an old guy that loves racing motorcycles. I first threw a leg over a bike in 1968. I was 11, 12 years old. Started riding and racing ever since. And the older I get, it's kind of weird, but the more important it becomes to me. Right. You start thinking about all the things you've done in your life and all the things that have made you happy. And I just keep going back to racing bikes. And I've got a group of friends, Bill Doherty and Roger Clapp, and they feel the same way that I do about it. And, it's just something that keeps us young, keeps us alive. I remember the last time I rode Vegas to Reno, I was counting down the miles backwards, going, oh God, I got 10 miles left. I got 5 miles left. I've only got 3 miles left of my section. And it almost made me sad, right? To think it was over. I spent a few years, I worked for Cycle Guide magazine for a number of years, back in the late 70s and early 80s. My dad told me I was never going to amount to much of a racer, so he convinced me to go do something else. But I never quit riding.
Yeah, right on. So you have the kind of, we have a video that I'll put it up on Dirt Bike Test as well, kind of explaining, what your goals are and what you guys are going to do. I mean, and it's funny because Johnny and I sit here and we're going, okay, what can we, well, Johnny can provide a lot because you're going to get and it's funny because this is some of the thing that the reason I want to do this is because I kind of want to learn through your guys' eyes, like what you see when you get like a bike that we know, like the bike you're going to get is the bike that we would race if we decided to race. And I know this because I've raced with Johnny before, and it's probably not exactly. Oh, you're going to hold that picture up. That's when we raced Vegas to Reno. I lost that race for us with that fork leg right there. It hit a rock. But that's
right.
But that's a whole and well, that was a stock bike. Stock bike with a big tank.
Stock. Yep.
Yeah.
Only had a tank.
Yeah, and it had handlebars.
Yeah, we put aluminum bars on it.
Aluminum bars on it, and the big tank because we need to have the big tank.
Yep.
And other than that, it was stock.
Yeah.
Yeah. But XR 650 in 2001.
2000.
2000.
No. I bet this Vegas to Reno was
99.
It was 99.
98. No. It was December 99. So it was in 99.
99. Yeah, because then
we came out in 2000.
Yeah, because we raced I've raced in Baja in 1999 on the 650, so it was just after this race.
Right.
We did this as kind of like a pre-race, and then raced 1,000 on.
So like when we say this, it's a lot of times, and I see this all the time that guys when they're building the bikes, they always tend to kind of they forget the important stuff. And they go overboard with things that they don't. And I think between Johnny and I'd like to, maybe we'll sit down and do a, dedicated podcast discussion on this is like, just, prior proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. my roommate, Dave Chase, when I was growing up, who was a factory mechanic and did a lot of stuff, was a Baja racer back in the day, always would say that to me. Because I was going down the wrong path sometimes with what I wanted to do with my bikes, and I would always try to prove them wrong. But that's my hard head. But then after being around it for so long and just seeing how important it is to have the right setup, and a lot of times I noticed you guys were working on a video where you're talking about kind of like doing some stuff where it's riding faster and working on some of that stuff, And right away I'm going, I think it's just understanding what your potential is. Like when we start, I saw you working on like kind of in individual turns and stuff like that. But when I think about it, it's like, I would want to know, especially as I'm getting older, how does my body work in a section, like a 50-mile section or a 100-mile section? And maybe go out and just do that, maybe not at race pace, but at a pace you 100% know you're not going to crash. If I got on this bike here, I'm going to ride at this distance, and I know I can ride at this speed, and you're not worried about fast at all because, because once you start going fast, then you do what I did, and you hit a rock, and then you knock yourself out, and the bike's bent. And you get past.
Yeah, I mean that's really interesting because that's exactly the opposite what I've been doing, right? And what I was taught. We were always go ride with purpose. Go find something that you need to improve and spend 6 hours working on that. And that, so we'd spend the whole time at our track or wherever we happen to be riding and doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that for sure works, but when we start talking about the longer distance off-road racing, and I think Johnny would agree, and this is what, like, a lot of the times we were doing pre-running, and back in the the Baja days and stuff, you would you don't get to pre-run in Vegas to Reno, but you definitely have to know what your body's going to do and how your body's going to feel in like a section, and almost you're going to you'd want to go out and simulate the race. Uh-huh. Just to see how you're going to go, and then there's nothing wrong with working on the individual riding techniques and skills, but I wouldn't work on skills focusing. Does that make sense to you, Johnny? Kind of.
Yeah, you want to work on when you're riding is like seat time, being in the saddle. definitely, it's a good time to work on not having bad habits, the body position, feet in the right place, being in a comfortable position because you're going to be on the bike a long time. There's so many things to work on while you're just riding and getting that seat time that's going to transfer to your race if you practice it, and that's what, when we pre-ran that in Baja and stuff, that's what we were able to do. But since, Vegas to Reno, you have maybe a chance of limited pre-running, but you need to work on those things.
Yeah. And the other thing, and this may sound kind of crazy too, it's like, even, Johnny and I were just kind of running through this. It's like, we should probably coach him up on how to do a proper pit stop. Just something as simple as, like, when we watch non-pro teams and even some pro teams, they come skidding in, they're hauling ass, they skid in, they miss their pit by a little bit. Everybody has to move or they have to pull the bike back. The guys jumping on and off the bike, they aren't, it looks like a spastic bunch of, animals trying to, it looks like my cat trying to take down a rabbit.
Yeah. Cool. Cool, calm, and collective coming into the pits.
Yeah, just kind of,
pop the bike into neutral if you can. Sit back, let your guys doing your refueling, do their job. Yeah. Don't be in a hurry. Where, like Jimmy said, it's like a lot of guys, they've been out there and they haven't seen anybody, and all of a sudden they got to see everybody, and then their adrenaline goes up, and then they make all sorts of mistakes at the pits.
Yeah. Roost your pit crew on the way out. That's always a always a winner. So the guys that have sat there all day waiting for you, and you roost them as a reward.
Yeah.
And then even like, okay, now my segment's done. I get off the bike. Am I getting back on? What I do to hydrate? Just these little, kind of things that maybe sometimes you get, you kind of get lost in the fray.
Yeah, we'd love to have all of that. We'd love to have that knowledge, and even take it to, what is the right strategy for the race? Do we put or does it make any difference? Do we put our fastest guy on first? Do we not even worry about that? Do we go longer sections? Do we do 2 sections and go 100 miles, or do we do a 50 miler and get off, and those sorts of things? We would love to have input on the overall race strategy too.
I think that I mean, this, I mean, that kind of depends on these guys. They kind of, who you kind of ask, like, who would be the guy who's most familiar with riding in the dust, or who has the best temperament.
Yeah, like off the start, because this start of this thing's going to be a monster. I mean, we're going right in over that summit, and it's rocky. You're going to have the sun. Yeah, sun in your face, and so you're going to have a guy that's patient, because you can definitely, you can have that saying, you could definitely lose the race, early, but you can't win it, and so it's just like you got to have somebody that can get settled in, and that's important. And I think the length of the sections is going to depend on how you guys feel. Cause I know as I get older that some off days are more off than they used to be.
Yeah.
So it's like, I
thought I could ride 100, but I don't want to go 50 now.
Yeah. So I think it's going to depend on your guys' fitness and how you guys feel strongly about, things like the start. The end of the race is going to be hotter than the beginning of the race. We're going to drop into Armagosa Valley, and that last 50, 80 miles is going to be pretty tough, so
sure.
Heat of the day,
and it's going to be rough, and so we could talk about and discuss those things when we see you guys, and kind of develop a plan based on your guys' skills.
Yeah, if you know anything about Johnny, and this is coming down from Bruce Ogilvy and stuff like that, there's a plan A, and you stick to it, and then there's a plan B if you need to use it, and there's always somebody around that can figure out what the plan C is. like there again, goes back to that kind of prior proper preparation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the next coming days we'll kind of discuss with Johnny and figure out where to, how you'll be able to get to the bike. He has a bike up in Idaho right now. It's his bike, because I know you guys are up in Idaho. and then the race bike is currently being built down here.
Yeah.
And then and I mean, I think, you know, you'll I know the bike's good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Absolutely no doubt. I mean, we just so much appreciate it. It was, you know, when you called me that day after I sent you the email, I was like, holy you know what? It worked. You called me back. I can't believe it.
Well, it's better than most of the proposals I get sent in there. And then Trevor Hunter wants to know, can you teach us how to do a proper pit stop? Yeah, fire your dads. Yeah, fire your dads, both of them, you and your ex-partner. Those guys, yeah, they just have them do what they do good. Sit in the lawn chair and drink the beer, and then tell everybody how fast they used to be. That's what your dads are supposed to do, not change your wheels and have brake pads fall out. And what else did they do? They did some other pretty special things. Yeah, and the bike literally should be maybe gas go in a filters.
You know what we found with the newer 450X is that the filter lasts quite a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
You do a filter skin?
Yeah. We do a filter skin and we could pop it off when we do a wheel change. And
remember, these guys will probably be back a little bit farther in the dust.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, come on.
Sure. I think, you know,
but sometimes your guy is like right on the tail of the other guy and his dust is.
Yeah. Like last year, you know, Preston and Tyler, they got a little mixed up off the start and then they ran in dust all day, you know.
Are we going to do a GPS?
We should do a GPS because, you know.
Do you guys run with a GPS normally or have a GPS?
No, we never have, right? I mean, we're old school, you know, show us the ribbon.
Yeah.
And
well, sometimes it blows away. And sometimes they forget to put it in a turn, or sometimes somebody takes it down. But we learned last year it's a good idea to have a GPS just with a track log on it. Maybe we can get it. Maybe I can put a Voyager. Yeah. Trail because it's big screen for the old guys so they can see it. Yeah.
The thing is we gotta be cautious to carry where we carry the racing tracks.
Racing tracks, yeah.
And so whatever we can kind of fit in there, I'm sure we can modify and figure it out.
So you just that way, if there's some kind of confusion or something like that, you can always look down and go, oh, I'm off the line. You know, if you go down a road and like, what, hey, this doesn't seem right, and then you can kind of do it. Yeah.
I'll just have to stop and put my reading glasses on.
I do the same. It's all right. I'm learning to work with this frustration, but it's a way that God's given me patience and telling me to calm down.
Right. So our goal is A, to get to the finish, B, to have a really good time, and then C is to do well. And both Johnny and I kind of feel that in the 60 plus class, if you don't make any dumb mistakes, you probably win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly the way we're going about it too, right? We're going to be safe. We're going to have a blast. But, you know, I've been racing a long time. I still get that, man, I want to win this thing. I've never won a big race, right?
Yeah.
I've won a little race, a lot of local races, but I've never etched my name in one of the big ones. So that would be pretty sweet at 69.
Yeah. I would say the biggest challenge is overriding.
Totally overriding.
Overriding is the biggest challenge in a long distance race.
Yeah. And at the speeds it is, you know, because it's like those corners, they come up quick at 80 miles an hour, you know? So it's like you have to have patience and you have to have self-control. I think that's because I get in trouble too, like thinking, oh, you know, and my mind starts going, oh, you're 30.
I wish I was 30.
but it doesn't react like that. So that's the thing. Don't get caught up in that and just ride out like you know how to ride and try not to get caught up in that. So that's my advice.
Cool. Well, Dean, thanks for letting us give you a call tonight. And like I said, we'll keep in touch. I'm around. I'm not herding cows on motorcycles like I was last week. so out of cell phone range, and we'll kind of keep this thing going forward. And looking forward to starting to release this content, and maybe people can follow. San Felipe Bob, a longtime friend of mine, says 60 plus team ? I know how to tape it wide. See, it's exactly what we don't want. I think we just talked about that. But if you need another guy, maybe we got a San Felipe Bob for you. He's a Baja 2000 solo finisher. He used to beat Trevor Hunter's dad all the time out in the desert.
Yeah.
They were battling. So anyways, okay, Dean, thanks for calling in and tell a friend about this stupid podcast.
Yeah, will do. Thank you, guys. We'll do you proud, and you guys. I look forward to seeing you both in person. And thank you again. I can't say enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Dean.
Thanks, Dean. See ya.
Bye.
That was Dean Taylor, everybody. He is going to, with a couple of his buddies in 60 plus class, do Vegas to Reno, give us a test of a JCR prepped Honda CRF 450X. See, I'm wearing my Honda shirt.
Yeah.
The show is sponsored by Yamaha.
Looking sharp.
Yep. And we'll kind of see if we can get these guys their big win they're looking for. Ace Nelson says, JC is the GOAT. Always have a plan A, B, C, D, E, and hope the heck you don't get to an F.
That's pretty wise, Ace. I mean, hopefully we don't get down that far down the ladder.
Yeah.
Something's really bad if you go down there.
Harold Fisher says, I've always been a fan of Johnny Campbell and Steve Hengefeld. Our sons raced, the kids raced together years ago at Best in the Desert race at Parker, Arizona.
Yeah.
Pre-pro race. Kids were likely 8 to 10 years old. Was that Preston doing that?
Yeah. I mean, they used to have a little PB race there. BITD did. So
yeah. So cool, Harold. Nice to see you out in the chats. Well, Johnny,
thanks for watching, Harold.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Did they grab your food?
Yeah, they ordered for me, so I should probably get over there.
You want to get over? Okay, go. I'll let you go. I'll do Roosterendo solo.
Okay.
Or you want to burn through it real quick? You want to see them real quick and tell me which one you like?
Let's do it.
Okay, this one here. This is Sean Elliott's adventure bike.
Okay.
That's Sean's bike. He says it has a Jimmy Lewis sticker. I can see it right there. Okay. This is brought to you by. This is Jason. This is Jason. Somehow his name is Hammer.
Okay.
Or something like that. Wait, I'm gonna get here. This. Oh, geez, I know which one's gonna win now. Shouldn't ask you. Okay, this one here. He says he uses this for timekeeping enduros, and then this is Roger's bike. Here's Roger's bike. Okay. So I'll tell you what I think about that picture. I got some issues with this. And then there's this other guy named Jim B. Jim B. This is Jim B's bike. So can I bet which one you like the best?
Well, there's I think some pretty high points to all of them, really. Of course, I'm a Honda guy.
Okay,
just like your shirt. That's pretty cool.
Right. So you're leaning towards the.
Well, I'm not leaning toward it, but I'm just saying it's like for that thing does look pretty clean. It's pretty clean. 450X, I think it is.
I read the thing, but it would require work right now to find it. You want to get a close look, see if there's anything janky on it. Oh, does he have a front disc protector? Well, I know he has a normal one, not like the big giant.
It looks like a stock one.
He doesn't have a metal skid plate on. That's good. That'll wreck that bike.
Yep.
But that's Gen 1 450X. It's looking pretty sweet. So.
Looks pretty good. I mean, the metal handguards are a little bit
outdated. I still run them, Johnny.
They're outdated, but hey, this guy. It looks like he's in the desert, but he might be in the trees, so that's okay.
Yeah.
But
cool.
Pretty cool. What I liked was it's set up for timekeeping enduro. We don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, right on. Okay, I'm going to let you run and eat dinner with your guys and tell them they all missed out on promoting themselves. Tell Kendall I'm still faster than him no matter what he thinks. Because that'll start a good dinner conversation.
All right. Thanks, Jimmy. Have fun. See everybody. Bye-bye. Thanks for having me on.
11-time Baja 1000 winner Johnny Campbell paid me a visit on my show so I wouldn't be so lonely in here, because then I just start drinking. It all goes to whatever the heck. So cool. Okay, everybody. I'm going to finish up Roosterendo in here. So if you're in the chat and your bike is in Roosterendo, you should probably start voting for yourself right now.
I like the adventure bike because it had a big tank.
Adventure bike, Johnny Campbell gave it thumbs up because it had a big tank, I'm going to get right to that in a minute here. Roosterendo is brought to you by Tacomoto. That's tacomoto.co. If you have motorcycle needs, especially like dual sport bikes that need a little bit of oomph or some other stuff like that, cool little trinkets, KTM fuel pumps, fuel filters, Go to takomoto.co. Don't go to takomoto.com. Takomoto.co. Check out what they got. They're really good at answering your questions. They do a lot of informational videos and things like that as well. They are helping you with a $100 gift certificate to the bike that brings us the most enjoyment on this show. So bike number 1 in Roosterendo is Sean Elliott's bike, 2018 KTM 690. Everybody knows what I think about those. Safari tank improves balance. Safari tank improves the freaking gas mileage. Johnny Campbell approved. Double Take mirrors, another excellent sponsor. I forgot to mention Double Take a couple times. I got a Double Take right here on the set. I have one right here on the thing. I sometimes I use this when I'm trimming my beautiful hair. It has a tower windscreen. It has. I need to click on my Roosterendo's tab again. It has a Seat Concepts tall seat, Barkbuster handguards, Moscow Moto Reckless 80. That's the bag system on the back. Twin air filter, MT21 rear tire. That's a Pirelli, by the way. And the collectible Jimmy Lewis off-road training sticker, which yes, now is a collector's item. Or you can peel it off strange fence posts out in the middle of nowhere that I've stuck it, or maybe on a door in some place in Baja California. I don't know. Yeah, I am not as everybody knows, I'm not a big KTM 690 fan, but I tell you what, when I rode the Husky 701 LR, which was the long range, they had the big tank on it. And all of a sudden that bike kind of came around a little bit for me. It did something to it that I thought made it work better. So I understand when he says that the Safari tank improves the balance. I have no idea how many millions of miles you could go on this bike. The photo was taken at a very nice location up in the mountains. I appreciate that. The lighting isn't all that great, but it's not bad. I appreciate that. Bike looks solid. I'm going to give this a solid roost. And I know Johnny would have as well. So I don't know why this phone, I'll bet you this microphone, I wonder if this thing, if it makes a big pop, let me know. We fixed some stuff last week with Jimmy Tyler. Did that help? No, that didn't make any difference at all. We got some problems here in the studio. I got to do a reboot of this whole show at some point or another. As I'm struggling, it's more fun if you get to watch me struggle with this microphone. It's going upside down. I'll fix it all in post-production, everybody. Okay. Next in Roosterendo. This is Jason. Enjoy watching the show. Here is my entry for Roosterendo. It is the 2006 Honda Sierra 450X. So he did it right. If you want to enter Roosterendo, you send it to Jimmy at Dirt Bike Test. You tell me the year, make, and model. This is important. So I know. And then tell us a little bit about your bike, however you want to do it. And then we put them on the show like we are right now. You are eligible to win a gift certificate from Takomoto when you do it. This bike, Jason's bike, his name was Hammer on his email. It said Hammer. Scott steering damper, good. Recluse clutch, auto. Jimmy Lewis approved. IMS 3-point gallon fuel tank and foot pegs. Those are good. A Chirby's handguards. Johnny didn't like them because they were metal, but I think they're good, especially if you tip over a lot. Enduro Engineering rear rotor guard. That can't hurt. Tusk fan kit, Tusk tires, Renthal bars. I like Fast Company, by the way. Trailtech Endurance odometer, FMF Q4 silencer, and clocks for timekeeping. All maintenance and suspension service is done by himself. I use this for timekeeping enduros out in the SoCal desert. Awesome. He says he's looking into getting into a 300cc two-stroke. Anything for sale? Any suggestions? Okay, see, I knew it. It was a Roost-Endo or for sale because he's going to sell this and get a 300 two-stroke. Well, I think you should get a 250 two-stroke, preferably a blue one. They're called Yamaha YZ250. The YZ250X is probably the perfect two-stroke because it has the bark of a Honda 450X, if you know what I mean. It's very simple. It has a carburetor, which you're familiar with on this bike. And It does not have electric start, so you don't have to worry about all those buttons up on your handlebars. You just kick it and go, kind of like the Supercross Championship did this year. So just so you know, Yamaha, big sponsor of Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. Thank you to them. What's next? What's next on the docket? I think this bike roosts. It looks good. It's not overdone. It's got a lot of the right stuff on it. So looks like for 2006, it's good shape. But anything for sale? I don't have anything for sale. And do I have any suggestions? I did. It's by Yamaha. Our next contestant. This is Roger. Roger has a 2007 650 BMW X Challenge ABS version. He hauled this bike around on the back of a motorhome. He sent me like 20 pictures, and this is the best one I could find. So, but I'll tell you about the picture. At least he turned it into the light. That was good. But I get a glance at this thing right away, and I'm like scared of the tires. But again, it was on the back of a motorhome. So these are interesting bikes. They came with an air shock, but we'll see what he did. Hauled this bike around the back of a Class C motorhome and visited sites all over North America. Managed to find passenger pegs so my wife could ride on the back, and this includes the dirt roads in Alaska. You need better tires. Okay, I said that out loud. Also camped off this bike in the Arizona desert without his wife. Lots of mods done to it. Okay, I'll read the list. Leo Vince exhaust. Leo Vince. Scheffelmeyer skid plate, adventure tank for added fuel storage. I don't know if I see that. I guess that tank sticking out to the side, because the tanks on these bikes were under the seat. Seat Concepts comfort seat, good move. Heated grips, that's also a good move on an adventure bike. Anti-gravity lithium restart battery, Cyclops LED headlight, Hepner Beko quick release panniers, TourTech expandable tail bag, electronic dashboard with a waterproof treatment applied. I guess that's good. Haven't used it lately on account. I've recently purchased a KTM 890R taking its place. Well, I'm going to tell you that was a mistake, because Yamaha makes a Tenere. That's right, Tenere. And if you had a Tenere, you could come to the Yamaha Tenere Trek up in Idaho, near McCall, Idaho, and you could have got a Jimmy Lewis off-road training. And unfortunately, I think I'm going to sell it again. Roost Endo or for sale strikes again. I just read his ad. You can find him on Facebook Marketplace, I'm sure. Note, smoke in the background is unfortunately from the Grapevine and Cane Spring fires in Nevada, and the Vallejo fires in the foreground. Roger Eddington, Roger, Railway Dog. So Roger, yeah, nice bike. I'm scared of your tires though, bud. Your tires and your photo skills. I know you sent a lot of photos, and they're big photos. I mean, that photo, I could zoom this one way out and see everything in close detail as we're doing right now. Didn't this bike have an air shock? I thought it had an air shock, and I like the air shock, but you could use some double take mirrors, bro. That's another thing. But yeah, so the biggest thing is when you take your picture from the back above it's disrespectful to your motorcycle. Don't know how to put it in more plain words. And you could have got the whole bike in the picture too, I think would have helped. And it kind of cut the tires off and maybe different profile. Anyways, it endos based on the photos. I'm sure this bike provided you with lots of deer enjoyment, and I didn't look closely at some of the photos, but looks good to me as an endo. Okay, and last but not least, from a guy named Jim B, who I may or may not know, and don't think for a minute that there's any favoritism here to people that may or may not have been instructors or coaches at my schools, or guys that I ride with, or guys that I really like, or whatever. But Jim B sends in a picture of a 2021 KTM 300 XCW. And if this hit list of the parts sounds familiar, it's because Jim has listened to some of my bike modification recommendations in the past. Recluse, Fast Company handlebars, handlebar guards, and foot pegs. That's all Fast Company stuff. Sick Ass Light Kit, Enduro Engineering Spark Arrestor, Trailtech Voyager plus Moose. Oh, Trailtech Voyager plus. There's no punctuation in this. Moose. Doesn't take what kind of moose, but I know what kind of moose he runs. He runs the Michelin moose. Double take mirror. There we go. Thumbs up, Jim. BRP Submount Scott's stabilizer. Okay. I know it sounds good. This bike, it looks like it's a roost. I think the parts list makes it a roost. It looks like it's fun riding in red sand that looks even wet. That's a roost. And so you parked your bike in the stand, you got off, you walked behind a bush and took a picture of a bush with your motorcycle behind it. The bush roosted your photo of a roost bike, and I'm going to have to card you an endo. So you, and I believe Roger is your buddy. Is Roger your buddy? You guys teamed up and decided to send in the Tech Talk Taco Tuesday. It's probably past your bedtimes because you're old guys and you're probably not going to be able to get back to me. You'll probably have to watch it, over coffee at 4:00 in the morning before you go to breakfast, which is dangerous, by the way. Going to breakfast is dangerous. And, endo, Jim, all because of the photo. It was such a roost. So the way this works is Rooster Endo brought to you by Taco Moto. Taco Moto is proud to help out riders that contribute content to the show by giving out a $100 gift certificate. And I am not going to go with Sean Elliott's adventure bike, but it's so close. But he has a lot of stuff on it and everything. I am not going to go with Roger's bike because bad photos and bad tires. I'm not going to go with the bush that Jim took a picture of because this is Rooster Endo. We talk about motorcycle product ladies. I'm going on Johnny Campbell's recommendation. Since I'm wearing a Honda t-shirt tonight, I'm going to pick the bike from Jason, the CR450. And then Sean Elliott says there's a disc guard on it. On a disc guard on what? on the front. And then that bike Roos, he probably rides with TWMC out in the Southern California desert doing timekeeping enduros. Probably rides with San Felipe Bob. Jason, congratulations. Send me a follow-up email on this, and I will get you set up with Taco Moto within the next 2 to 5 weeks, allegedly, if I remember that you reminded me and I forgot again, if you're like Taylor 4C. So that's the thing. MX Beans jumped on the comment thing. He says, electric start is overrated. My bikes always start first kick, and now I have e-start bikes, and I'm always worried that the battery starters are clutches. Yeah, got to worry about something these days. It's like kind of like those rich people that don't have enough problems and they worry about things that aren't important. Yeah. MX Bean says he always wanted a CRF 250X to use as a play bike. I see some of them for sale every once in a while, but feel they're too old now to enjoy. Now, I have one for sale. If you want to, I'm pretty sure I have one for sale. I have a really good one for sale. It's a bike that Johnny Campbell, believe it or not, built for a Dirt Rider 24-hour endurance test. And we bought it for my father-in-law. Rest in peace, Ned. And we were using it as a rental bike in our school. And that's a good bike. It was a perfect stalker. When we talked about, cheating and shootouts, we actually allowed them to do some small modifications at the time, I think, kind of to even out the playing field, we allowed them to sort of uncork them because they came pretty corked up, all the stock enduro bikes, and it was a pretty cool shootout. So anyways, Jason, congratulations. And then the 300 has a disc guard on it. The rear disc guard on Jim's bike. Let's see. I can get the photo to see. Oh yeah, he didn't tell us about the disc guard. He's gonna rot for not telling us about that one. It's a Bulletproof Designs one, I think. I don't know. Let's see if I can zoom in and check that out. But good eye. You're watching this on a big. No, that is not a Bulletproof Designs one. That looks like I don't know, KTM hard parts. This bike is the Erzberg edition. Does the Erzberg edition come with that thing? He also forgot to mention his Tugger straps. Tugger is a sponsor of the show, and he didn't mention it. Bad on you, Jim. We're going to have to get you into some counseling. So Hammer 06, I think that's Jason. I recognize the hammer from the email. So cool. Like I said, follow up with an email, and we'll go from there. What else do we have on Tech Talk Taco Tuesday night? I don't know. It was hard to get this show started. I wasn't really sure I was going to do it, but I did because it's my 2 hours of penance to run the world's greatest motorcycle question and answer show where my name is Jimmy Lewis. I answer some of these questions with my 2 brain cells that I have left. And you know what? It's time for the tequila of the evening. Screw it. We're having whiskey tonight. Addictivo whiskey. This is whiskey made by a tequila company. So I'm going to have a little sip of this and get ready to send the show off. So if you have any questions, go ahead and throw them up in the chat right now. I'll be better equipped to answer your question after a little bit of this, I'm sure. If you want to send in a Roosterendo, remember your make and model, send it to Jimmy at Dirt Bike Test. If you're listening to this show in the future, I can't tell what you're going to do in the future, but you should listen to this show. Thank you for doing that in the future. You can also email any questions you have. We actually go through, and I'm going to do that right now. We go through the comments from our videos, and I answer them here on this show. And Taylor C4, he said he's in the chat too. So I don't know if I got you totally dialed in. Did I finally forward that email over there, or do I need to do that? I might remember this, but then again, maybe I won't because I've said it before. It's kind of like Men in Black. I stand up from this studio, I walk 10 feet away, and I get zapped by a gun that makes my memory goes away. Let's see. Where is the YouTube channel thing? I had some other things that I wanted to bring up. There was another question. I thought there was another question. I don't see that in my thing. Oh, here we go. I was going to have a professional rally rider on the show, but he got hungry, I guess. I was going to answer this question. It says, "Hi, Jimmy. Are you doing any beginner rally schools or courses? I'd be interested in a few-day crash course on what not to do. I just need navigation help. No clue where to start." Well, you're like many, and thanks for reaching out. He says, "Would it be dumb to start with a tablet and the app? If so, what app would be good?" So no, it would not be dumb to start with the tablet and the app because that's probably the least inexpensive, easiest way you can get into being able to do rally road books. The app that I had been using in the past before I went to the Tower One, which is an expensive tablet that's very professional. It's the best way to train, in my opinion. But if you're just getting into it, there's a lot of road book readers. And if you wanted to do it all for free, for the most part, you can go to rallynavigator.com and then they have a roadbook reader. I don't know if it's still supported, but I have it on a lot of my devices, and it's a simple PDF reader that has an odometer and a cap repeater all built in, all free. Super awesome. It has to be, I have it on iPads. But you have to have the one that has the GPS chip in it. I think it's available also for Android devices. So that's the free way to do that. While you're at it, download Rally Navigator software. There's a free version on there that you can play around with. And one of the best ways, even for a beginner to do, is to play around with that software. There's a lot of videos out there that show how it works and different things like that. But again, yes, I do a rally school. It's generally done only a few times a year. It's 2 days online, and then provides the option for you to be able to come in and do some training here in person. Send me an email, or I'll probably respond to this one with the information. I have a sheet that I send out, and most people look at the price and then they go away because they'll find somebody else who thinks they can teach the same stuff that I do for a lot less. And I've seen how that works. I can tell you everything you need to win the Dakar Rally, and I'm not lying. It would be awesome to build a route on Onyx and then go ride it for practice. Yes, that's my 2 cents. You got my 2 cents. And he says, also, I won the Rooster Ender a little while ago. Takamoto is awesome, and I would highly recommend them. I ended up spending, and he said $1 sign with them. He should have said millions. Quick shipping and great communication. John Bennett. Thank you, John. Yeah. I will get back to you on this email and do things. But in the beginning, it's kind of like when people say, hey, what adventure bike do you buy? And I should say Tenere 700, but I always say Kawasaki KLR 650. Thank you, Yamaha, for sponsoring the show. But it's because it's just the easy way to do it. And I am inherently, I understand being cheap. I know what cheap is like. And there's a way to do things, and you don't want to go all in on something if you don't know that that's your thing. And rally, for a lot of people, they start doing, they go, forget it. Some people get into it and then they get addicted. I have a friend, my buddy from Hawaii, Mike, he was on the show changing tires in the background. Bucket list was to ride the Baja Peninsula. We talked him into doing it during the Nora Mexican 1000. He did it, had a blast. Now he's all in on rally. He's got Rally Navigator. He's making road books over here on the mainland. And, all I have to worry about is a mezcal shortage. That's right. But anyways, here's to my whiskey. I miss that. Whew, that is good. Yes. Thank you. If you want to sponsor this show with your tequila company or whiskey company or mezcal company, like Los Sundays did, it's over there on the table. Just give it to my wife. She'll bring it to me. Thank you. Chris Nadell says, are you going to have Heather on the show? Is it true you guys rode 5 miles of hell on the day you got married? Nope. That's a lie. We rode it during our honeymoon. I waited till after we were married for a couple days before we did the 5 miles of hell on our honeymoon. I could have Heather on the show one of these days. She's been on the show before, I think. Why do you want to see my wife on the show? Is it something I need to be worried about here? Because the thing is she's probably better at doing the show than I am. And then everybody just want it to be the Heather Taco Tuesday. And I could sit over there and push buttons. I don't know. Okay. That was the question. I'm going to go to, like I said, I'm going to go to the YouTube, the YouTubes here. That's not the right board here. I got to go here. I got to go here, click another button. I used to have producers and stuff, but they wanted all the money that I get, the millions of dollars that I get from this show. And I told them no, and they had to leave. So that's why we don't have producers, and I have to push all the buttons. That's why the show barely works. Up on dirtbiketest.com right now. That's my website. I mean, kind of Trevor's website, but my website. We have a lot of videos on the off-road 450s, and these guys went and rode and raced all the different off-road 450s. That's why it wasn't done in 1 week like some of these other internet banger companies. They test them. They have videos. You get personal opinions from the guys. They talk a little bit about who they are, why they picked the bikes, what they liked, what they didn't like. Trevor picked the Yamaha because he's very well aware of where all our money comes from. I would have picked the Yamaha too. I don't know because I haven't ridden all the bikes. I actually think I would have picked something different, in all honesty. Yamaha, don't watch this show tonight. It wasn't my best advertising reads. But the reason that they support shows like this and certain media is because they like us bringing you good, honest content, and they trust it. So, what does our community have to say about our videos? Here we go. Let's see. A guy called LP Mojo GL says, I'm strictly street. And he's talking about a KLX 300 doing a National Hare and Hound. Kicking around the idea of something like a KLX 300 for fun. Watch this, and the first Big Bear video was a blast. Stop saying nice things about Trevor. Captain Velveeta says she loves riding her TTR in the Colorado Rockies. So she's talking about dirt bike test of the 2023 Yamaha TTR 230. Mike Burnett asks, how much lower is it from the MX model? And he's asking about our Triumph TF450E full race test and review, where Trevor won the Glen Helen 10 hours on this particular bike. How much lower is it from the MX model? Are we talking about price? Are we talking about seat height? You got to be better at putting the questions in, because I think he's talking about seat height, and I don't think it is lower. There are some changes, and Trevor is really interested in the TF450E versus the TR450X, I believe. They really like one of them, and they're not so high on the other Triumph, even though they're kind of supposed to be the same. And stay tuned. That's all I can say. Axel Killa, he's talking about our 2025 Can-Am Origin first impression. He says, how do you wash the dirt off the bike? Well, ordinarily I lick it with my tongue because I wouldn't want to squirt water on it and get shocked. This is YouTube, my friends. I pressure washed the damn thing like a demon. That's what I did. I pressure washed it like every other bike. I treat all the bikes as if they were my own, and I wasn't thing. Oregon Riders, and he's talking about a Tech Talk Taco Tuesday with Jimmy Tyler, and there he says, you guys are dedicated to dirt. 105 is the hottest I've ridden. I can't imagine riding when it's 119 outside. Thank you, Andrew Short. That's all I can say. Andrew's the only guy that would go riding with me when it's 119 out and not complain. Not once, not one word. And I was apologizing for, God, I wish we would have done this earlier in the year, Andrew. I felt bad. And he goes, Jimmy, we're riding motorcycles. This is cool. That's Otis Flint says, don't do drugs, kids. There's YouTube again. Ride, Climb, Ski says, thanks for testing these bikes. It's been very helpful on our 2026 450 shootouts. He actually said that to Jeff Belkamp, who gave his opinions on this. Brooklyn Brunduliak. That's what it says. He's talking about our Scott's Sports Softcon Hybrid knee guard tested. He says, do the size chart is accurate? What size is yours? Okay. Do the size chart is accurate? Do the size chart is accurate? No, it doesn't work. Do the size chart is accurate? Yeah, I'm confused. Minor medium. Is the size chart accurate? I think is what he is trying to say. From what I could tell, yes. They're not available anymore. This is a problem. These are the best knee pads I've ever worn. I have 2 pairs. They are holding tough. Scott is not importing these anymore. I'm looking over in Europe to try to buy some more. I'm trying to get Climb to build some that are like these. They are awesome. And I don't have them. I don't have more. I want 4 pairs. I'd feel comfortable. Because like 1 pair is up in my motorhome that's in another state right now, and my other pair is here. And if I go riding someplace and I leave a gear, it's problematic. Okay, Triumph TF450E. He says, do you had valve seal issues on that bike? And you wonder why the guy who sent a really well-written, concise email with some good information ended up getting a factory JCR race bike for Vegas to Reno. I don't think we had any valve seal issues on that bike because they keep riding it and they're winning long races on it. So the answer is no. I have heard there's some Triumph durability issues, but not from people that actually own them and ride them all the time. These are people on the internet that spew knowledge that they learned about the one guy that had the problem that, whatever. So that's the thing. Too Big _golf says, I'm a bigger guy too, about 270 pounds. He says, it would be cool if you buy a bike brand new from the dealer if they threw on heavier springs for the bike, depending on the rider size. When are you dropping 10,000? It sucks. You get stuck with doing suspension every time on every bike you buy. So he's talking about Brent Farrell's review. Brent is a tall guy, big guy. I don't think he's 270, but, and the Northern Toyota says, imagine if they scaled up a bike to fit a 6'6" guy like these bikes fit a 5'10" to 6 foot guy. Would that be better or worse for a big guy? So like mountain bikes, they do the different frame sizes. And the problem with a dirt bike is the motor has a huge effect on the handling. And if you just stretch the frame out and stuff, doesn't work like that because it's the engine placement in the frame and where it is for the CG and stuff like that makes a pretty big difference. So if you're a big, tall guy, you're just screwed, or you learn how to ride it. I wouldn't know what it's like to be big and tall. I'm perfect, or so I'm told, or so I tell everybody. Let's see. Barkeep25 says about our Triumph TF450E full race test and review. It's crazy how big of a difference the reviews for the cross-country version is. And then Prestone says the cross-country is the X version, I believe. This is the Enduro version, which is quite different. Yes, there's different swing arm length, different power character, a lot of different stuff in those two bikes. And Triumph didn't do a very good job of explaining that, I don't think, to us in the press, or at least I didn't get that impression, and also some other stuff. We've got the chat going kind of nuts right now. Man with a Gun said, would you ever be willing to barter good tequila for a good road book in the high des area? I'm looking to learn, adopt, invest in the rallying experience and would love to ride routes in my local area. Well, yeah, just considering like road books go for about, like a good road book to, they go for a lot. It'd have to be really good tequila. And then we'd have to, work on some of the deals and arrangements and stuff. So there is a thing called the California Rally. And if you get in the right circles and groups, you can probably grab an invite to that. I don't know anything about it, but I know there's a lot of guys that do know a lot about it. And Prairie Dog rode with Rick Smets. I think Rick Smiths, he says, but I think he meant to say Smets, who is a former NBA player, big, tall dude. Like, I think he's in 7 Foot Club, and he rides bikes. He's a tall dude. Yeah. Brent Farrell is also a tall dude. So it's good to have opinions from these different guys.
We gained exclusive access to a club for service.
Messed up something. I pushed a button and sound came into the mic. People are saying they want to know why Trevor only finished 61st. It's because he sucks. Let's see. Gear ratio is the big difference. And when we're talking about a 2026 CR450 RX compared to a 2007 CR450R. Adrian Huerta says, who has the whistling nose? I don't know. I'm going to have to watch that video. It looks like Trevor Hunter's opinion. You're calling Jimmy Tyler the best co-host. That's good. And then the big question of the week from Mark Fitzsimmons says, how does a bike with a small MX fuel tank win the off-road shootout? And Otis Finn says, and an MX engine and an MX gearbox and a crappy 5-hour MX chain and stupid raspy exhaust and low quality everything. These guys are on drugs. Trevor, we need to drug test our testing crew. So in all honesty, I have some of the same opinions when it comes to the Kawasaki, but you have to understand that these guys are heavy GP racers. Like not really, they do a lot of GP racing. They don't do a lot of hare and hounds, hare scrambles, definitely not GNCCs, things like that. But you might want to talk to Stu Baylor about that bike. Just saying. So, pretty good. That's really it, guys. I've run out of stuff. The man with a gun gave me a thumbs up. So, well, I'll find, you don't want to mess with the man with a gun. I'm a man with some whiskey. I don't know if we're coming back next week or not. I don't know if I'm taking another week off. Not really sure, but you can always, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube. Sign up to get notifications. If you're listening to this in a podcast, subscribe. If you have a dumb friend that asks you dumb motorcycle questions, send them to me. I would love to help them out because it's penance for me because I've had so much fun. I'm sentenced to 2 hours a week on this podcast answering your motorcycle and motorcycle product related questions. And a man with a gun has one more question I'm going to answer just for him. Should off-road bikes ever use a check valve on the gas tank vent? It depends on if you're falling over or not and how much you fall over. The more you fall over, the more you should have a check valve on the gas tank vent. And Prairie Dog says, yeah, Rick Smits, actually. It must be like riding an XR100. He was pretty solid rider, though. Yes, he is. So, cool, everybody. Thanks for joining in. Thanks to our sponsors, Bulletproof Designs, DDC, Yamaha, Fast Company. I have to look up there. Taco Moto. All of the above. They're scrolling on there. I got to fix that screen because I got some new sponsors coming in. The millions of dollars on this #1 rated show podcast. Oh, I was going to show a cool tool. I'm going to do this right here. Look at the emergency camera. I'm holding up at this cool little tool because in the entire time I was riding over the last couple of weeks, I had to do a couple things, mostly on other people's bikes, and I did almost all of it with this one little tool. So go to engduro.com. And it's magnetized. It's a T-handle. It's magnetized with all these different bits. And it has an extension, so you can actually pull this thing out and put this thing in here and put this here, and you can add this here. I'm doing all this stuff right now. This is a pretty cool tool. They gave it to me. These guys sent it to me a long time ago when I was doing my schools because it says Jimmy Lewis Off-Road Training on it, but it's some Canadian guys, so you know it's good because they live underground for half the year. And Enduro, ENG, it's engduro.com, and you can probably get yourself one of these. I would hope you get one of these. They're pretty cool. So, okay, that's the last little sponsor read. I'm going out. See you. We'll talk to you next week or the week after. Cheers. Now I got to turn the show off. If you like what you saw in this video, come check us out over at dirtbiketest.com on the webs. We have bike tests, product tests, a lot of fresh dirt, and you can even support us by clicking through our links. Hopefully, we'll see you out in the trail.